Hello and welcome back to Glad We Talked podcast. I'm Tori.
How does that happen? You're supposed to say hello, and then I say,
I don't know.
Like,
I'm
how
just
does
not.
this always happen?
I don't know. This is why I don't start because I
No,
just.
but then I start, and then you do that.
What?
When I start, you still do that.
Oh.
You still do the welcome back to the
Okay.
Talk podcast. You're literally Rachel in that episode where her and Phoebe are trying to record the answering machine, and she gets all the good words.
I know.
That's literally you.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try this again.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, welcome back to Glad We Talked podcast. I'm Chanel.
And I'm Tori. And I just got back from 2 weeks of traveling.
I feel like it was like 3.
It feels like a month.
Right? It was like 3.
No,
It was 2?
it was 2.
That's
I
weird.
think it was like 10 days.
Okay.
But it really
Right
feels,
in between.
Yeah. It feels like a lifetime.
Not right in between. 10 days is less than 2 weeks. Learn how to count.
It would be 7. It was a little bit more than 1 week and a little bit less than 2 weeks.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
I'm tired,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Because the first week was for work in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took my solo trip, which we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
And then week 2 was again for work.
I don't know how you did it.
I don't know either. It feels like a blur.
That's usually what happens when you're just like going and you're on adrenaline and you're like, am I tired? I don't know. And then you look back and you're like, that just was like a blur of my life.
Yeah. When Mitch picked me up from the airport on Friday, I was like, I was in Amsterdam this time last week.
Yeah. It feels
You
like
know?
so long ago, but like yesterday at the same time.
Yeah, but I also feel like I haven't seen you in like a month.
I know. Well, we usually see each other and talk like
I
at least
know.
once. Well, we talk every day, but like we see each other at least once a week, obviously.
I felt really guilty not talking to you every day when I was traveling.
No, I was fine.
I know, but I felt guilty.
I know you put all this guilt on yourself, and I was like, I'm literally fine.
I know, but you kept the house down.
I did.
You were like, okay, we got some stuff to get out. I need to put some posts out there. I have to edit a whole episode. And like, I just felt really guilty because usually I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
But you took on a lot. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, you did help a little
I did.
one night, and I'm sure you were exhausted.
I was really tired.
And you had like an allergy situation.
Wow. Yeah. So I didn't know I was allergic to a certain pollen that is found in the Austrian forests. And it was like ultimate high levels of pollen when I was there. And I just like woke up, my throat was hurting. And then I had like really stuffy nose, runny nose, but I felt okay. But I was just like,
Really? How would you ever know that?
I wouldn't.
Exactly.
My 23andMe didn't tell me.
That's what I was saying. I was like, I thought you had no allergies.
Me
And
too.
You were like, apparently I do in Austria.
I had a hard time. I was in the middle of nowhere, really.
Yeah.
I had to ask a coworker to stop at a pharmacy for me in her village.
Oh, in the village. Not
Yeah.
the village.
Not the village. I was like, do you have Allegra? And she's like, I don't know what that is.
Oh my God.
I know. And I'm like,
Zyrtec?
I was looking on my phone to be like, this is what I need.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So she's like, send a picture to me and I'll show it to the pharmacist.
Oh, okay.
So the pharmacist gave it to her and was like, does it say non-drowsy? And she was like, I don't know. And like,
She was like, how am I supposed to know?
the instructions are all in German.
Yeah.
Like there was no English translation. So I'm trying to read and I'm like taking pictures on the iTranslate app
Yeah.
and it's like not working. It's all congealed together. And I'm
Did
like,
you not have anyone who could translate for you?
I did, but like I felt annoying and they did. So I finally got the Allegra, but I really needed Sudafed. I needed the decongestant. Yeah, it was really bad in my ears. When I was on the plane, it was like popping and I'm pretty sure I perforated an eardrum.
That sounds painful.
It was.
What do you have to do for that? Do you have to go to the doctor?
No, it says it heals on its own.
That sounds suspicious.
I had so much fluid. Like I could hear the fluid in my ears. I was like, you know, when you do the jaw thing,
Yeah.
trying to pop.
Yeah. Yikes. I mean, I know it sounds like really granny of me to say this. I carry around a pill case.
You do.
Yeah. I
With-
got it from Amazon. It's really cute. It's pink, obviously.
Of course.
And I carry it with me everywhere. And it has all my essentials. It has Tylenol, Advil, Xanax. If you want to pop in some cold medicine in there, if you think you need to travel with that. Like,
Yeah.
I just always have it with me. And like, it's so easy to transfer from bag to bag and just like stock it up whenever. Some vitamins in there.
Yeah.
It's just good to have on hand.
New travel essentials.
Yeah.
Allegra and Sudafed. I'm going to start carrying around a carry-on of like pharmaceutical stuff.
Yeah, you
like,
should.
Yeah.
It's great. I
Mary
highly recommend it.
Poppins bag. Oh, I know. You're an Allegra girl.
Yeah, I love Allegra.
Yeah.
I love Allegra. Big Allegra fan over here.
I didn't know you weren't supposed to travel. You just told me this when you're congested.
Yeah, because of your ears.
Ugh.
Literally, which happened.
Yeah. Now I have like vertigo.
This is concerning.
I know. I don't know if it's like because I'm jet lagged.
Yeah.
I'm on different time zones.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, I just felt like adrenaline was keeping me going for the past 2 weeks. And I was just like, okay, one thing in front of the other.
Yeah.
Until I could.
Until you crash.
Yeah.
I mean, you even saw something that was like, you need to take a rest or your body will take it for you. And we were supposed to record yesterday. And I was like, no, we're not recording.
I know.
We're canceling. We were supposed to record with a guest. And I didn't know you got home at Friday at 8:30 and we were supposed to record early Saturday. And I was like, Tori, you can't do that. You've been traveling nonstop for like the past 2 weeks. And like, no, you're like, no, like I probably can't, but it's okay. And I was like, I'm canceling.
I know. You're like, you can't even say no.
And your back was hurting. Like you have back issues right now. You just go to the doctor. I'm like, you have a lot going on.
I do. And the back was a mess.
Yeah.
I had sciatica going.
Yeah. And traveling doesn't help that.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. So I've been on like a leave twice a day for the past month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's not great. I'm going
You
to
should
the doctor.
definitely get naproxen from your doctor, and then they'll probably
What's that?
it's a leave but stronger. And then they'll hopefully remedy something that can help you.
I know. I hope so. I'm hoping I get PT or something because
Yeah.
it was especially bad. Just I felt like every time that I was flying, my back when I landed would be a mess the next day. It's probably because of the pressure and just sitting for a long period of time.
No, airplanes are terrible for your back. I always I should have told you this, but I travel with not the icy hot patches on my back.
Oh.
Whenever I fly.
Oh,
I literally forgot until you told me you got a patch the other day.
I bought them when I was in Indianapolis because I like started dragging my leg pretty much. I was like, I really couldn't walk very well. So I got the lidocaine patches.
Yeah.
That helps. But I didn't think about flying with them on. That makes sense.
Yeah, I always put one on. Even if my back isn't hurting, I like usually put one on for a long flight because the sitting really does not. I always end up with back pain after traveling.
Yeah, and I have a lot of travel coming up. I'm going to London.
Yeah, you should.
Again, California. This is
carry
good
them.
Advice.
Yeah, I should have told you that before because
It's okay. No, it's okay. So new travel essentials. That's an outstanding item.
Our travel essentials really changed.
Yeah.
Icy hot pill pack. Don't worry about me. Everything's fine. I am fine.
I know.
I have vertigo. I'm dizzy. My back doesn't work. I have allergies. I'm sick. I'm congested. My ear hurts. But I'm good, guys.
I'm fine. I can record on Saturday.
Yeah, I'll see you Saturday. 10 a.m. I'll be there.
No, you were so right because we were supposed to record at 12:30 and then I think I woke up at 12:30.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't be able to.
No.
You'd have been a mess.
No. So you were the right. You were right. Hard stop.
Okay, but then on the flights, did you watch good movies or shows?
Yes, I did. I downloaded One Day.
Okay. You downloaded it on your like personal
my phone.
on your
Just
phone?
on my phone. So I downloaded One Day What Jennifer Did on Netflix.
Oh, I watched that too.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh.
I watched that with my mom.
And then I watched Irish Wish.
Oh, with Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah.
Was it good?
No.
In a corny way?
It was good for a flight.
Okay.
You know, it was fine. It was very predictable. It made me think, I'm like, oh, this is because our attention spans are so short. Like it was one of those movies that you could just watch and have your phone on.
I just feel like we talked about this last time, but like the rom-coms these days are just not what they used to be.
It was so predictable.
Yeah. They're bad these days.
Yeah.
The last one she was in was the same way. She was in a holiday one.
I didn't watch that one.
Yeah, it was the same.
Yeah.
Predictable Hallmark type movie. Like it was cute enough, but
yeah. But I liked it. I'm like, her hair looks great. Like, I mean, for her,
good.
I was happy for her.
Yeah.
You know, she had a little bit of a comeback. Like, she's back to
being good.
Yeah.
She's stable.
One Day.
Yeah.
Broke my heart.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, were you sobbing on the plane?
I was thinking of you the whole time I'm watching this.
That I was like a mess?
Because
when
I was
watched it?
crying and I was like, I can only imagine how Chanel's doing.
Yeah. I watched it a while ago. I watched it a couple weeks ago. And I was a mess, but I wasn't a huge fan of the main character girl.
Oh.
So I feel like it didn't like hit me as hard. I don't know. I just felt like she was kind of like a little rude. She masked it with like sarcasm. I didn't think that their chemistry was fully there. But all that said, I was actually very upset when it I don't want to give
when it
spoilers,
happened.
but when it happened, spoiler alert ahead. And Dex was like really upset.
Yeah.
After I felt for him because she was his whole life.
Yeah.
And like you really felt like this is someone that like he grew up with since they were like in college or
Right. He leaned on her.
yeah, and then they got married and it was his best friend, his wife, they were trying to have kids. Like the whole story was like so tragic, romantic.
I know.
You know, like it was like, well, they won't they? And then they finally did. And then this happens.
I know.
It was sad.
It was sad. It was hard. It played on both of your emotions because I could see where you're like, Emma's annoying. You thought she was rude. But at the same time, I was like, she's kind of the awkward girl and she's like getting with this guy that is the cool guy.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You see him at his peak and he starts to downfall and she's kind of like, she's pretty consistent. And then she finally has her moment and she's on the up and up. And it just like, I don't know, there were so many different waves to it.
Yeah.
They were close and then they weren't close. And
Ebb and flow.
They would ebb
Their
and
relationship
flow.
was like ebb and flow, yeah.
Yeah, and then like whenever like you said, whenever he really needed it, she was there for him, and she felt like she was getting taken advantage of, and she kind of like a few times was like, no, you can't do this to me, whatever. And then finally, when they get together, you're like, yes,
They did it.
and they don't even show it.
Okay.
Really.
That's so funny because so when he went to Paris to visit her
Yep.
and they're talking in the room and she said something about them hooking up and I was like, what? I was like, they didn't show us them hooking up. And then Martin wasn't watching it with me, but he heard me like yelling at the TV and he's like, what's going on in here? And I was like, I'm watching this show. It's will they, won't they with these two. And they didn't show them hooking up. He's like, you're such a perv. I was like, you don't get it.
You don't understand.
You don't get like how much we've been waiting for this.
You've only seen the bad parts or like
Yeah.
the parts that really tug on your heartstrings.
Right. Not the good parts of like, oh, they're finally together.
Yeah. You didn't see their wedding.
No.
It's like they mention it and then they just blow past it. And then she's like, oh, well, I think I want to have kids. And you're like, oh my God, this is about to be a beautiful chapter.
And then it
Bam.
wasn't. Yeah. And like, I guess it's because it was the same day every year. So
Yeah.
that's obviously why we missed a lot of like the important stuff, like their wedding and they're hooking up again for the first time. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I really enjoyed it. It was like a really good watch. Despite like me not enjoying Emma that much, I still like loved the story of it. And
Yeah.
like, I thought it was like very like sad and beautiful at the same time. And I think she like did good for him
Yeah.
all in all. You
Yeah,
know?
she did. His part was just so heartbreaking.
It really was.
I felt for both of them, but for him, I was like, you knew she was going to come, she would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But for him, he just like experienced loss after highs and lows. And it was just like,
Not again.
I know.
Yeah.
Ugh,
And his mom, I know. And then his daughter was so cute at the end. And then he was like at the like same spot that that part was like,
so cute.
I know. I can't imagine being on a plane
I was a mess.
and not in the comfort and alone of my own room.
My nose was like running, and this time because of tears. I was crying.
The guy
I
next to me was like, are you good?
I had the sniffles. I was like, and I was like sitting next to someone, and I had perfectly spaced it out because they're short episodes. They're like between 20 to 30 minutes. I think the shortest one was like 18 minutes. So I had saved them because I was like, I don't want to binge it all. I wanted something to look forward to because I knew I was going to be flying.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is the last flight, the last episode.
Timed it well.
I did. I really did.
you.
I didn't
She's an
want.
expert.
I really was enjoying it, and I was like, I don't want to rush this.
I'm glad you watched it though.
Me too. I'm glad you watched it.
Yeah.
It did make me appreciate my relationship.
We love that.
I came back, I was like,
Mitch.
yeah. Well, I came back in general for my travels, missing
Yeah.
Mitch. So
Oh,
there you go. Mitch is on record.
there you go, Mitch. Tori said she misses you.
It's fine.
So I also watched, we're going to take a dark turn now. I mean, one day is pretty dark. But I also watched Quiet on Set.
What'd you think? I mean,
I knew that it was going to be tough to watch, but I didn't know like the extent.
yeah.
That was rough.
Eye-opening.
Very. That was crazy.
Which part?
So I had watched like the first two, and then when Drake Bell came on, we had paused. Like it was like nighttime, so we took a break, and then we came back to the Drake Bell episode, and I was like, "This is intense."
I agree, Rhodey. It is intense.
You know, when you find out initially when the guy got arrested, and they're like, "Oh, it was a child actor," and then you realize it was Drake Bell, and he just like hid it for so long. It was just like so crazy because you're watching Drake and Josh, you know, now thinking back to when we were younger,
Yeah.
and he's just putting on this character. You would have, I'm sure even his friends would have never guessed that this was going
Right.
on behind the scenes. And it was just so sad. Like, I was like so taken aback by like how this happened. Like, his dad,
I know.
like, broke my heart.
It's really upsetting because he knew. He was like, don't let him alone with this guy. And that guy knew how to manipulate the situation between his parents being divorced. And it's just,
I think that's what creeped me out the most. It was like, because it wasn't only this like abuse toward him, it was also the manipulation on top of it. Like the lengths that he went through to do this
yeah.
was disturbing.
Yeah.
Like, you are
They
a
know.
grown man.
My brother did karate and when we were kids, like at elementary school, and he was really involved in karate and they would do like private lessons and all this stuff. And one of the teachers, I did karate too, always creeped me out. And he just like, I don't know, he just gave you the heebie-jeebies. And like, my mom didn't like him, but he was one of the instructors, so you were like, okay, whatever. So there was one instance where Dan was just really upset after doing like a karate lesson, and my mom's like, did anything happen? And he's like, no, I just don't like him. He was mean, whatever. And my mom's just like, okay, I don't care what it is. Told my dad he's not doing karate with this guy anymore. He's done. And a few months later, it came out that this guy was like molesting children at the karate place. And like the owner had no idea. Like my parents actually really liked the owner, but you just didn't know. Like,
It was like happening in his
yeah.
studio and he had no idea.
Yep.
Kind
Had
of
no
like
idea.
how this guy was like hiding in plain sight
Yeah.
with all these kids. And like, yeah, that's the hardest part, is that their full-time job
Yeah.
is working with kids.
Yeah. It's so upsetting. And like you trust people and like you think like, okay, I mean, for kid actors, you're like, okay, you're developing their careers and you're like, okay, trusting these adults. And even if you're doing like karate lessons, you're like, oh, self-defense, this guy, it's just like they know how to manipulate and they're disgusting human beings.
You're just so vulnerable as a kid. And think about like when we were young, how hard it is to like speak up for yourself. You're scared you're going to get in trouble. You're scared you're not saying the right thing. You're scared you're like being this dramatic little baby or like whatever it is. Or you're scared, like a lot of the actors on set were saying like their paycheck helped their families. And they're like, I don't want this to go away.
They're responsible for that. Yeah.
So you have all this pressure on you at such a young age on top of all this stuff happening. And it's like, how are you supposed to speak up? And I was like so glad when he finally was like, I just broke one day and told my mom. I was like waiting for that moment for him to tell someone, because I was like, I can't. I felt horribly. And like, I was like, I can't listen to this anymore. I need him to tell someone. It's like you're watching it and you're just like, you feel so awful.
And he didn't tell people for so many years. So like he was, and I think that's like what we see in different situations with child actresses and actors like Lindsay Lohan and Britney Spears. Like all of this stuff is happening and you don't even know the extent of it. And they're not being open about it because they can't. They're in the public eye and there's probably shame and so much tangled into it. And that, like, watching that made me really think about like Amanda Bynes and, sure, there's mental health things, but you don't know what else was playing into it. And they're in the public eye. It's just so upsetting. And
yeah, and I think a lot of mostly why Amanda Bynes is like this is because of like the things that she went through as a child actor. I think there's a lot that they didn't show and like stuff that went on behind the scenes that like we don't know about. And she obviously hasn't really spoken about.
Yeah.
And I think she has tried and people are just like, oh, she's crazy. Oh, she's just like, chatting on Twitter, being crazy again. But it's like, maybe we should actually listen to what she has to say.
Yeah. And in her instance and like Britney Spears too, it's like, it's too far gone. Like the damage has been so done.
Yeah.
It's just so upsetting. And you can only hope that because of this light that they're shedding on these issues, future child actors and stars will like experience the same things.
Yeah, and just be more like vigilant. Even when I was like, I listened back to like our episode last week or whenever it was, and I listened to me and I was like, oh yeah, they're doing well. And then I watched the thing and you were like, well is like and I was like, oh, aren't they? And then I watched the documentary and I was like, none of them are doing like mentally, they're all damaged. Yeah. And like it obviously spanned like depending on like what they experienced, but like even at the smallest level, like from kids who just were like overworked and treated like crap on set, they're still dealing with it now because that impacts you as a child.
Yeah.
Like, every small thing impacts you.
Yeah. My mom listened to our episode where we kind of talked about it, and she was like, I knew, she said again, she's like, I knew there was something that like when I watched that, there were like these innuendos that you didn't sure it went over your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, sure, as kids it went over your head, but I would hear it and I'd be like, how is this on TV? You know, there was like one, I think Amanda Bynes had one actress where like there was a specific name for her. One character. She
The
played.
Penelope
Penelope
something.
Yeah. And it was like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes, I do. And, watching the documentary and they showed some of the I had a roadie hair on my lip. I was
sorry.
like, what is that?
You're like, what is it? It's Rudy.
I was watching the documentary and they're showing some of the scenes, and obviously I'm remembering some stuff from when I was younger. I was like, oh, I remember that character. I remember that character. And then they talk about they show it. And I'm like, oh my God, that is an innuendo. But when we're like 9, we don't realize it.
Different watching it now.
Yeah.
Even the hot tub.
Yes. I remember that. I actually remembered that.
Oh my God. I didn't watch the what is it? The cat?
Zoe 101?
No, the cat one with Ariana Grande.
Oh, Sam and Cat. I didn't watch that either, but that looked crazy.
With her with the water.
Yeah. That was insane.
I was like, how did this get passed?
I know. Someone approved this. Regardless of this man ideated this in his head and made it come to life, someone somewhere approved this. So this is not, while he's a sick perv, this is not all on him.
No.
Someone approved this to be on TV.
Yeah. And also the way that he was treating female staff, the writers.
The writers, that was so crazy.
Asking them to split salary, and also like the things he did to them, like
the massages and stuff.
Yeah, but and also like taking them into the rooms and being like, "Oh, I heard you were a sex worker," or like you did sex phone call things,
and made the girl like do something like inappropriate in a meeting. Made her, like,
bend over, or whatever.
Horrible, and like this is the 90s. Like that could never happen now. You know,
I can't imagine.
This was like so long ago when. And even the one woman writer was like, I wanted this so badly. Like I wanted this. And like, this is the only place I would get hired, or like, this would look so good on my resume, or like, no one else would take me seriously.
So sick.
It's like, this is what they had to go through.
I know. And then he like yelled at her after the other female writer after she was like, he's like, she brought it up. She blew the whistle, and he like threatened her.
Yeah.
They
were like threatened with their careers like daily. And they knew.
She was like, you know what? Enough was enough.
Yeah.
Which had to take so much guts if you're in that environment. Like for us, we'd be like, yeah, that's fucked up. We're saying something right now. But we weren't in that situation. You know, we weren't in that. Our livelihoods weren't dependent on it. We weren't in the same situation. And thank God things are different for us now.
Yeah. There are like practices in place now to protect us.
Yeah.
Where I don't think that really existed for them.
No.
You know, they were like the scapegoats. Like they had to experience it for it to become something serious.
Yeah.
Just so crazy.
I mean, the whole Me Too movement is, you know.
That's when they started speaking up too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a really crazy documentary. I didn't watch the 5th episode though.
Okay.
I know that there was like one that they added at the end kind of.
Oh, really?
After. Did you watch the 5th one?
I don't know.
So there was 4 initially, and then I think the 5th one is now everyone's reaction after watching it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to
So it was like added later, I think.
I haven't watched that.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I'm glad I watched it. It was really eye-opening, and I think it was a really important documentary to make.
Yeah.
But it was really hard to watch. It was really dark and sad.
Yeah. In some ways it didn't ruin your childhood, because obviously it ruined theirs.
Yeah.
But like it made you look at things differently. Yeah, because when we're kids, we're just like, Nickelodeon's awesome.
Yeah.
It was like this, I wanted to get slimed so bad.
I can never talk about Nickelodeon the same way.
I know.
Yeah. It's changed things.
It has. But I think also as adults, it makes us realize like we have to be the ones looking out for youth and
so true.
You know, making these changes happen to preserve and protect children.
So true.
You know.
So yeah, I watched it, and glad we talked about that.
Me too. I'm glad we talked about it because, you know, we talk about a lot of our child influences from celebrities and whatever. And
You're a big Britney Spears gal over here.
I am. Brit.
Okay, so that's everything we watched. So let's talk about your solo trip.
Okay.
Let's do a hard pivot.
Hard pivot.
There's really not a way to segue from something like Quiet on Set. So we're just going to hard pivot.
We're going to talk about some happier things now.
Yeah.
The balance.
Okay. So you did Amsterdam after. So you went to Austria for work for like a few days and then you did Amsterdam. So that was your solo trip.
My solo trip to Amsterdam.
Okay.
Yep.
And tell us about landing, how the hotel was. Like, how was that part of everything?
Sure. So
tell the people.
I'm gonna tell the people my experience. This was my first solo trip. You've never been on a solo trip?
I've never been on a solo trip.
Yeah. So it was a brief one.
Okay.
I went right from Austria after work to Amsterdam, and right from Amsterdam I went to the tulip fields in Keukenhof, and they were beautiful.
I think I saw the photo you posted on our Instagram.
Yes.
And it looked so pretty.
It was amazing. This was the purpose of my trip, was to go see the tulips. It was like, okay, this is the perfect time. Oh. I know I can do it. I'm close in the area. Let me just extend this on a little bit and go see these tulips. And it was so beautiful. I just went right from the airport, brought my luggage even.
Wow.
And they had like a little area where you could drop your luggage and then go to the gardens. So I did that. And it was so nice. I really enjoyed going. It was a little bit challenging. Like, I was actually surprised. I had booked this on like I think it's like Get Your Guides or Your Guides app, and the instructions of where to get there was like a shuttle to the tulip gardens, and the instructions were so bad. So I was kind of like panicking, and I was like, I don't know where to go. And I ended up asking someone next to me. I was like, is this the right bus? And he was like, no, you have to go this way. Like, by the friendliness of a stranger, I ended up where I was supposed to go.
We love a friendly stranger.
Yeah, they were really friendly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, the people of Holland are really nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
The Dutch were nice.
They're happy there.
Yeah.
They're happy people.
They are
happy people are nice people.
They were nice. So easy to get there. And then I got there and I was really happy to go. But a part of me did miss company.
Yeah.
Because I really was like, oh, I wish like...
This is big for you to say because you're an introvert.
Yeah. I wanted to go, but then I was kind of like, I just wish someone was there to experience it with me because it was so beautiful. It was unlike anything I've ever seen before.
How big was it?
It was big.
Like it was like a small park, or was it like
It was like a botanical garden.
Oh, okay.
Kind of, you know what I mean? So you walk around the gardens and everything.
Yeah.
But it was like just beautiful tulips everywhere. And
wow.
So meticulously curated and taken care of. And I don't know, the landscapers at this place, wow.
They're good at their jobs.
They're really good. But it was also kind of like Times Square at a garden.
It was like
so
really
many people. Yeah. And there were like a ton of influencers.
Oh,
you know,
yeah, creating that content.
Yeah,
getting that content.
And like part of me wanted a picture, so I did ask some people.
Okay, good.
And it was funny. I learned, like, I realized during my solo travels, I was joking with people more that I didn't know. So I asked someone to take a picture of me in like the Dutch wooden shoes. They had like them so you could stand in them.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, I don't know if I'm very good at it. And I was like, well, it's better than the person I have. And he was like, what? And I was like, no, what? And like they started laughing. I was like, that was a good one, Tori.
That's good, Tori. That's
yeah.
good. She's a comedian on the road.
I was like, maybe I should book a show in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
You know, get on stage.
Yeah.
So that was fun, but I ended up FaceTiming my mom.
Because you wanted to experience it with someone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, is this going to cost me a lot of money? Because I'm on my parents' level.
That is so funny.
But it's only $10 a day on the international plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, yeah.
If you're there for a week is a lot. But yeah, a few days, 2 days, 2.5 days, you're fine.
Yeah, I was fine.
So how was the hotel?
Okay. So after the fields, went to the hotel. Mm-hmm. I hadn't been before, and I was kind of just like looking to see where I could afford. And it wasn't really in the city center. It was kind of on the outside, and it was fine. The area wasn't as clean as I thought it would be.
Okay.
And like next door to the hotel was like broken windows and stuff of a store. So I kind of was like, oh, I don't know. I know Rhodey's crying. It just looked a little run down in the area I was at. So I got to the hotel and it just wasn't what it looked like in the pictures.
Oh, they catfished you.
They didn't really. It just like, I guess in my mind, I had different expectations. I thought it would be cleaner and just,
yeah.
It wasn't dirty. It just like
When you're traveling solo, you just want something that you feel really good in. It's
Yeah.
clean, it's safe, no broken windows next door.
Yeah.
Kind of a lot of people around. You want to feel just, especially because you're by yourself, just like if anything happens, you're in a good area.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure about the area. I was fine. Net, I was fine. But I got to the room and I was like, okay, I feel like I need to do all those like TikTok hacks I saw online about like keeping myself safe because I just didn't feel as my mom's gonna be like, you didn't feel safe. I felt fine. I felt fine, but I just was more hyper aware, I think, of being safe because I was by myself.
I think that would be like most women traveling because like when I think about you, I'm not like, oh, Tori's like such an anxious traveler. Like she doesn't really like travel. Like I would not think of you as that person. Like, and you're also like your anxiety isn't like getting kidnapped. I mean, it is, but like, I don't know. Like I would think I'm like a scaredy cat and like you're not really. I wouldn't put you in that same category.
I'm not really a scaredy cat.
Yeah.
When I travel.
Right.
Yeah.
So I am. So like, I just think for you to feel that means that like, I don't know. Like I'm like Tori feels that. Like,
Yeah.
It must really be like a feeling that like when you're alone traveling in another country, like there's just something that takes over that you're like fight or flight almost.
Yeah, I think so.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, you're just more hyper aware and you're just like, this is different.
Yeah. I wonder if men ever feel this way.
I think it's a woman thing.
It is. Because I literally got up to my hotel room and I'm like looking around. I'm like, no one else is following me.
Yeah.
First of all. And then, I closed the door and I'm like, okay, how are the locks? And I'm like, okay, the locks are fine. I bolted it. And then I realized the peephole didn't have like the thing to close it. And I saw on TikTok that like sometimes people can reverse look in.
Oh.
So I put like a map. I pinned a map somehow.
Smart.
Yeah, it was paper just so it would close it so no one could look in. Then I checked underneath the beds and I checked the closet. So I just did all that checking.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that was smart though. Like let's say you stayed in like a hotel in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I feel like you wouldn't have been like this.
If I stayed at a Marriott, I wouldn't. And when I went to Indianapolis, I didn't.
Yeah. I think there's something about like the boutique hotel and like
yes
and like on top of you being in a new country.
Yep.
It's like you're not really like aware of your surroundings at all.
Yeah.
You have nothing, you have no reference. This is the first time you've ever been there. Like
right.
Because it's not so much the being alone in the hotel room, it's being alone in the hotel room in a new country, in a new place, in an area that you were like not familiar with.
Yeah. And I think after I walked around Amsterdam a little bit more, if I had stayed closer to city center, and I didn't because it was more expensive.
Yeah.
That was a takeaway, was like, even if you're going to spend that few extra $50, $100, I would just do it. Like in retrospect, I would have just spent the money to stay closer because then I felt fine. I was safe. But walking home at night too, like Amsterdam was small enough, so I like quickly learned where I was.
That's good.
But like, I think it just would have made my days easier. Like, cause I kept on walking back and forth to my hotel. And just like when I got home at night, I was like hyper aware and making sure my cell phone wasn't dead. And just like, I don't know. The low for me probably was my hotel. It wasn't like a great hotel, but I wasn't staying there. It was mostly a place to sleep.
Yeah.
And I slept.
And I think like that can sometimes overshadow other things if you're like not fully comfortable with where you're staying, or like even if you're out to dinner or you're out to drinks, you're like concerned about you going home, and that's what you're thinking about. You're like, I gotta go because I gotta go home before it gets too late, and like then that overshadows the trip almost. But I do feel like sometimes like that can happen of like you thinking about being safe.
Yeah.
And like walking back at night versus being like, oh, I'm having a good time at dinner and drinks. Like I'll go home whenever.
And if I had you or Mitch or like a family member with me, I wouldn't have thought about this.
Right.
I would have been like, oh, we're fine because you're with company. But as a solo traveler, I was like, I was a little bit more aware of my surroundings. I mean, you should always be around your surroundings, but I was like making sure to pay more attention to that and my safety and like noting where I was.
It was top of mind.
It was top of mind.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I do like that you put on your phone for even the 2 days. I think it's worth it if you're alone.
Oh, for sure.
Because if anything happens, I think it's just like good to have that peace of mind that you have your phone on and you have that like security.
Yeah. And just getting around, you know, like I just wanted to make sure that I was in the right area. So I did have my maps open a lot because I was just walking around and making sure, you know, I didn't go too far.
Yeah.
If you're traveling by yourself, it's definitely worth it just to have the sense of security with your internet on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're good at directions. And so for you, it's like you said you learned the area fairly quickly. Like
Yeah.
I'm not good at directions at all. Like if I was solo traveling, it would be like harder for me to like get my bearings together, which is even another layer of like needing to be back at the hotel sooner. So like if someone's not good with directions or don't know really where they're going, it could be even scarier.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
definitely, yeah, I like that tip of like maybe staying closer to the city center, even if it's a couple of dollars more.
I think so.
Yeah.
I do. And the public transportation was easy. I ended up walking everywhere, but I think that was just the one thing. I was like, I wish I just
Stayed
closer.
a little closer.
Yeah.
How was it like eating out?
It was interesting. I got to people watch a lot.
Okay.
And I noticed that there weren't as many solo travelers. Like because I was alone, I realized how many more people were traveling in pairs or groups.
Yeah.
And like especially I was able to get reservations easily because it was just one person. But I watched a lot more people, I
Yeah.
think. And like it was nice because I was just
Did
like,
anyone catch you staring at them?
I don't think so.
You're just like in the corner, like.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, what did I do? I just sat and I
Yeah.
engaged with the staff a little bit more. I went to this one restaurant I really liked and I talked with the wait staff and like they were really nice and I enjoyed talking with them because they were like, "Oh, where are you traveling from?" And like they got to know me and they were really kind to me. They like brought extra like cookies and I don't know, they were just really nice and really attentive.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
I do find that like wait staff when I travel in general are just really nice when they know that you're traveling.
Yeah.
Like when we went to Vancouver, I mean, maybe because it's Vancouver and everyone in Canada is nice, but like every single restaurant we went to, we got like recommendations from the wait staff. They'd be like, you have to try
nice.
this place. And like a lot of people like wrote down stuff for us. Like people in restaurants and stuff who are like locals. I feel like they love meeting people who are like out of towners just looking for something to do. Like they love giving recommendations and just being like nice. So I feel like it's good that you like went out to eat alone because that is like the people you want to meet when you're like in a new city alone.
And it gave me an itinerary. You know what I mean? So I started planning like my meals and in Amsterdam you really do need a reservation to get in anywhere unless you're just going to like a quick place. So it gave me like places to go and like areas to see because I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the museum and then I'm going to go here. And so it was nice to have those reservations in place.
Did you not have like stuff in advance?
I kind of did. So I had obviously the tulip fields. And then when I got to Austria, a lot of my colleagues liked Amsterdam. So they were telling me recommendations. They're like, oh, you have to go here. You should do a boat cruise. So I started booking things when I was in Austria. And then I got like restaurant recs from people. So you
were able to make last minute reservations?
I was. Okay. Because I was one person.
Oh, okay.
So it was easier to do that. So the restaurant experience was interesting.
How's the food there?
It was good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I thought it was fine.
I never thought of what food in Austria is like.
Austria or
Amsterdam. Sorry.
Amsterdam, it was kind of like New York.
Oh,
you know
okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they had a lot of salmon. I think I had salmon one night and they had I didn't eat chicken, but like there was a vegetarian place. I had a niçoise salad somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
Okay.
I liked the food. They had this apple cake in
I saw
Amsterdam.
that.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Really?
Winkle 43. My boss told me to go there and the line was insane.
Oh, but
it was
worth it?
so good. Yeah, it was good.
It was like big.
It was
like,
huge.
This looks delicious.
It was. I couldn't finish it. Oh, I could not finish it. And
like, I wish I had someone here to help me eat this.
I did. So that's what I realized like there were more things on the menu when I went out to eat and I was like, oh, I wish I want to try this. But then I'm like, I'm one person.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. There were things.
You don't want to get too much.
Yeah.
Did you feel self-conscious eating alone?
Not really.
That's good.
It's kind of nice. Like, so one time, the first dinner I had, there was this group of like moms and their boys sitting next to me. I was like, these boys are annoying.
Oh no.
And like the parents weren't really winding them in. Like they were just kind of like going crazy and it was like, they need to stop.
Yeah.
Which it made me realize like how you can impact other people's experiences, you know, a little bit more. Cause like I was there I was trying to enjoy my solo time and like these kids were just insane. And like, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of rude.
Yeah. I guess you never think about that. Because like, even if you're out with friends and you're being loud, there could be someone next to you that are like, I wish these people would stop talking.
Yeah.
So loudly.
Because I didn't have a distraction, right? Like I wasn't engaged in a conversation with you or, you know, talking with anyone. It was just me. And I was like, these kids are like
You were like hyper
ruining my
aware.
time. Yeah.
Oh,
But it was fine. Like they eventually left and it was late and I was tired anyways. But then I had a really great experience, like I was saying, the next day at this place where the wait staff was just so kind to me and like they gave me the best table outside. It was like looking at the canal. They
thanks.
gave me extra cookies with a cappuccino.
Oh my God. A shout out to them.
I know, I loved it. It was
You're like
really
a
nice.
celebrity when you travel solo.
Yeah,
You're
I
like
know.
VIP.
I am.
They're like, oh, Tori, we got you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're by yourself? Don't you worry.
People, I swear
Hook
to
it
God,
up.
they were extra nice.
That's cute.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
It was really nice. Yeah.
And did you do like activities? What were like most of the things on your agenda?
So the tulips. And then I did go to one of the museums there
Okay.
to go see some Van Gogh and Rembrandt. So it was a really big museum and I only did 2 floors in 2 hours. I read this tip online somewhere.
Oh, okay.
It's just go to what you're interested in if you only have a short time.
Oh,
And everything was pretty affordable. I think the ticket to the museum was like $37. The ticket to the Tulip Museum was like, I think $40, including the bus there and back.
that's not bad at all.
No, it was great.
Yeah.
And then I did a canal. It was like a wine and cheese canal cruise.
Ooh,
It was nice.
that's fun.
Yeah, I think it was like $30 for the wine, cheese, and the cruise.
So you're just eating wine and cheese by yourself on the boat? That's so cute.
Yeah, and there was like a group of us. It was about 20, 30 people, and so there were a lot of Americans. And I sat down next to this mom and her 2 daughters, and I just like, I hope it's okay if I sit here. And they're like, yeah, sure, of course, no problem. And they were asking me where I was from, and they ended up being from Connecticut, so we had a lot in common.
That is so weird.
I know.
Like, how is it you fly literally to another country and meet people from Connecticut?
It was kind of crazy.
What a small freaking world.
I know. So I was like, oh, I grew up in Connecticut, so we were able to talk about that.
Yeah. Tori, extrovert episcopality. Who are you?
I don't know, but you had to, I felt like I had to talk more with people because I wasn't in my bubble with my fellow partner or friend or family member. You know, I wasn't traveling with anyone, so I had to talk more.
When you travel with Mitch, do you guys make friends?
I don't know. I don't think so because we're just like, maybe we would talk to a couple in passing, but like we have each other.
Right. That's how I feel. Because me and Martin are the same. Like when we go on trips, we don't really make friends. Like, yeah, maybe we might see someone in passing, but like we talk to the wait staff. Like that's where it really ends. But Chrissy and Corey, every time they go on vacation, they make friends. And my mom and my stepdaughter are the same way. Like when they go on vacation, they make friends.
Interesting.
And I'm like, I wonder if there's just like couples that make friends. And as a couple, they're extroverted and they like to meet people.
Oh, maybe.
Or maybe it's the type of trips.
Yeah.
You know, like all inclusive cruises, stuff
sense.
like that. Maybe you make friends more versus like a European trip.
Because you see them around.
You're seeing the same people. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you're traveling in Europe, you're like maybe at the same restaurant for 2 seconds. And then, or in the same, if you're in a tour group, I could see making friends, but like.
Right. When is it that you really have like time with someone?
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I wonder if like Mitch was with you on the boat cruise, if you would have like struck up conversation or not.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because the environment was very, it sounds like conducive to like speaking to people.
Yes and no. For me, because I was by myself, I kind of like.
You went out on a limb to talk to people.
I guess so. Because I like had to see like, is it okay if I sit here? Like, you know, I don't know. But like other people just stayed in their group.
Yeah.
But it was interesting.
How did you feel talking to people? Like how, like you, not like, oh, I'm in a new country. Like you as an introvert, how did you feel approaching people first? Did it feel natural?
I felt fine.
Okay.
I felt like there was a little bit of like, I don't want to have to talk to someone to ask them, can I sit here?
Yeah.
But it was okay. Because then when I did start talking, I was at the point, I think, where I had been by myself for so long that I was willing to
You were willing to be out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. I was kind of like, I did want to talk to people because I'd been alone for so long. And I started to miss like just being able to have a conversation with Americans. I know that sounds bad.
Yeah.
But I just think like culturally and just having that ease of conversation where it's your first language was American English. I did start to miss that eventually. And I was like, oh, okay. It's easy to have a conversation again and talk about like not having to think about, is this the same, like talking about my wedding and stuff. Like people ask me, they're like, oh, well, where's your fiance? And I was like, oh, well, he's home and, you know, I'm traveling by myself and just explaining a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that's funny because like obviously you're with Mitch and you're traveling alone. I feel like people would be like, well, why are you alone?
I know you said some of your friends thought Mitch and I broke up.
I was like, no. I was like, no, they're very much together. She's just doing a cute little solo trip.
I thought about it too because I posted something like from on our Instagram, and I was like, people are gonna think Mitch and I broke up.
Yeah.
But
She was like catching flights, not feelings.
yeah, I wanted to do this by myself, and it was like, my first feelings, I had like this, I'm independent, like I'm really excited to be doing this, like I have no one to answer to, I'm on my own, and I really did love it. Like my itinerary was truly mine. When I went to bed, when I woke up, everything was based on me, and it reminded me of my early 20s when I just like was living my life. Sure, I had a roommate, but like I set my own schedule, so that was nice. Then on the flip side, I started to miss my family and friends, where it was like, I wish someone was here to have dinner with me, and I wish someone was at the Tulip Gardens, and I wish like something funny happened and I could tell someone, you know?
Yeah, you missed like the companionship of someone. And I think when you're like doing new experiences like that, it's just really nice to share with someone who also appreciates it. Because you're just like, I'm just literally in my head saying this is great, but like it would be nice to like tell someone.
Exactly. Yeah. And there were like things I just, you would see couples together and it was cute. I mean, I would do it again.
Is Amsterdam coupley?
Not really. It's a lot of different things. It's a very young city. So there's like some schools. There were a lot of like, I was actually surprised by how young some of the travelers were from the US. Like girls that I thought were maybe like 19, 18, 19. Yeah. Like young. And then there were some older people.
Well, people are abroad at that age.
True.
Because I was abroad at that age and traveling in Europe.
Yeah. I was not.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess that makes sense. There's a lot of people who are abroad in college.
Yeah. That's what it seemed like. A lot of people like making different stops, like going from Frankfurt to Amsterdam to Paris, like, doing that tour.
Yeah.
Huh.
And a lot of companies out there, like, they're like, one is called like Bus to Alps. They do like a bus trip from like your abroad city with like 30 people and you all travel as a group together. And they do like you're saying, like Amsterdam, Paris, an easy little tour. They just pay like $400 and then they, get your hotel and your accommodation.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Amanda did one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good if you want like an itinerary made for you. Yeah. You want to feel safe as a group. Maybe like even for solo travelers, that's like a good option too, to do like a group thing.
Sure.
Instead of like, braving it like you did.
I know. So many people, like this woman I sat next to on the canal cruise, she was with her two daughters and she was divorced. And she was kind of talking to me about it, what it felt like to be independent and like doing things on her own and having to get used to that. And it was interesting just to hear like how many people thought that it was like brave or like, wow, I could never do that, just 100%. To travel by myself. And I was like, really? I don't know. I thought it would be, everyone could do it.
That's what I was trying to say before when I was like, I don't think of you as a scaredy cat because like you just are someone who's like, no, yeah, I would solo travel. Like, yeah, this makes sense. I don't think that that's the case for a lot of people. I think like safety is like top of mind for most people. And then also like...
So they wouldn't take the risk.
They wouldn't take the risk, but also... Okay, I think there's like a few things. It's like the risk of safety. I think if you go to like a coupley town, that could be hard if someone's like alone and then they're like, oh, like I either miss my partner or like I'm very aware that I'm single right now. There could be like that angle of it. And then I think also like the experience thing that you were saying. And like if someone's extroverted, like you're introverted. So maybe to you, like a solo trip's just like a no-brainer. But maybe for some extroverts, they're just like, I need to share this with someone. Like I can't imagine not having someone here with me.
That's interesting. Maybe you're right. As an introvert, I'm okay being alone. So I didn't mind doing a solo trip because I'm like, I can be by myself.
Yeah.
It did make me check in with myself a lot more.
Oh, that's good.
Because I was like, well, what do I want to eat?
Yeah, instead of like, what are you in the mood for, honey?
Yeah. And like I went shopping by myself and I had to be like, do I like this? Like, and I wasn't asking other people for their opinion. Yeah. It was very like, I felt very intimate with myself and having to like listen to what I wanted and like make decisions and just.
I like that.
Yeah.
Very eat, pray, love.
I kept thinking about that. I was like, this is eat, pray, love. Like I'm doing my eat, pray, love.
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying it was my solo bachelorette. Like people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm on my solo bachelorette.
Me, myself, and I enjoying myself before I get married.
Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah. I think it could be like so many things, but I mean, also for extroverts, like they could be like, I'm going to go solo so I can meet people, like I guess it really depends, but.
Yeah. I met people.
You did meet
It was
people.
fun.
I'm
Like,
very happy for you.
this boat cruise was my last day.
Yeah.
And I got on. So I had this lovely experience with this woman and her two daughters from Connecticut. And I talked to them the whole time. And then I got off the boat, and there were these two girls from Michigan that were doing a best friend trip.
Aw.
And this son and mom combo, he was like 32 maybe, and she was in her early 60s.
That is so sweet.
I know. His dad had passed away. And so they'd go traveling together.
Oh my God.
So he's like, oh, to this group of girls next to me, they were like, oh, we're going to go to drink. And then they invited me to go. And I was like, well, I guess I'll go. I had a reservation, but I was like, you know what? Am I going to go eat alone?
Yeah.
Or like just go have
Meet
a drink
people.
on a canal with these people?
I love this, Tori. Look at you.
So I had this experience where I just sat down with this group of people. We all had like something in common.
Yeah.
We were American, all of us, but like the guy had gone to Yukon, so obviously that connection with Connecticut. These two friends, they were from Michigan, but they were about our age, so easy to talk to them. One of them had recently gotten married, so we just like sat and talked about crazy things.
See, this is a part of like solo traveling that I feel like is great because
Yeah.
when else would you get invited to like go sit with all these people and
In Amsterdam.
in Amsterdam and all different ages and like have a conversation with everyone? I mean, it's
I
funny
don't
that they were
know.
all American,
Yeah.
but it could have been any, like, you know, you could have met someone who lived there or someone from like close
Yeah.
by in another city. Like, that's really cool.
They just were like, hey, do you want to, like the mother-son combo, they were like, do you guys want to go get a drink? And we were like, okay. And they were like, you can come too. You're from Connecticut and like Yukon. And so I was like, okay, sure. And then the mom ended up buying us all drinks. It was so sweet. She was like, let me treat you. And the son was like, we were like, no, we'll pay our way. And he was like, no, let mom treat you.
Oh,
It was so cute.
that's really cute.
Yeah. It was
I
really
love
cute.
that.
It was a nice
I mean, good
time.
for them too for like talking to people, even though they were like in their own little group.
Yeah. I mean, the
know?
girls were like having so much fun on the boat.
Oh,
They were like counting their glasses of wine. They're like, we're on 5, catch up. Like they were having a good time.
Yeah.
And now I follow one of them on Instagram.
that's so fun.
I know.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah. I talked about the podcast a lot with people.
Oh, good.
Yeah. They were like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
it feels like you've just really, I mean, I feel like you've found maybe like a side of yourself that you did like maybe knew was there, but like it was nice to like really come into it and be like, wow, look at me. I can like go talk to
Yeah.
people and strike up conversation and like, you know, meet new people.
I think that. And I think I love Mitch and I love our life together, but I do miss some of that independence, I think, because I'm a very independent person. And I think it just having that time to myself and just doing something and then coming home, it made me appreciate what I have at home even more, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like I missed Mitch, I missed you, I missed Rhodey, I missed my family, my parents, and like it just coming home, I appreciated home more when I was here. So it's been like being gone for a while, like outside of the solo traveling away from your family and friends, it like makes you appreciate everything more, I think.
Yeah, that's so sweet. It sounds like you were gone for like the right amount of time then, because I feel like sometimes you can go on vacation or travel and you're like, I'm not ready to come home yet. But you were like, oh no, I'm ready.
I was telling Mitch that because sometimes you know you're like ready for the trip to end.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, oh, I wish we had more time.
Right.
I had kind of hit everything. And so I went walking through the red light district because that was the last thing in Amsterdam that everyone kept saying you should do it, you should do it. And I did it and I was like, this is kind of the low part of my trip. I think it's time for me to go home.
Okay.
Like all the girls were on their phones and it was just really weird.
Okay. You didn't like it.
I did not
Wasn't
like it.
for you.
No,
Yeah.
it was not for me.
Okay. You know what you like and you don't like. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say that was the low part of my travels was the red light district.
And the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess probably most women listening, I think like safety just is like top of mind. So like knowing that like you were good and you felt like pretty safe and content like most of the time.
Yeah.
Maybe you're inspiring someone else to want to go on a solo trip.
Would you do it after hearing my experience?
I always thought I could do one.
You could do it.
It doesn't scare me surprisingly. Surprisingly.
You would just get lonely.
I would get a little lonely. I would definitely like talk to people like you did. I don't know if I could do it for long. Like, I think you had the sweet spot, 2.5 days. Like, I would not be the person who's like 14 days backpacking through Europe by myself. That's not me.
Right. No, I definitely
Little,
not you.
Yeah, definitely not.
The whole backpacking period, hard stop, is not you.
The 2.5 day mark, I think that's good.
Yeah, no, that's like the perfect time, honestly. Like I had enough time to go, like, be excited, do some things, and then I was like, all right, time to go home.
Yeah.
You know?
It's funny because talking about safety, I was looking at Instagram and I follow this girl who does like safety tips. Like if you're like a crazy situation, you know, she just like gives different tips. And one of them was like, you should have a family code word. So the example she gave was like an AI voice of this girl's mom calling her saying she was stranded. And the girl believed the AI voice.
I would too.
Yeah, because she was like, oh, this is my mom. She's stranded. And they were like, I need your credit card number, like blah, blah, blah. So she was like, that's AI. Don't fall into that. This is why you should have a code word that you use that you need to drop to say like, what's the code word, mom?
Oh my God.
And, you know, she'll say what pineapple or.
Why is it always pineapple?
It's always pineapple, right?
When you were telling me about this, I was like, pineapple.
Yeah. But I think it should be a little less inconspicuous than that. Cause like, let's say you get like, you know, God forbid, you get like taken or something and you know, you're calling and they like, this is really dark, but like, let's say you have to like call home and be like, hi, I'm okay. Cause you know, the kidnapper or whatever is making you say that.
Yeah.
It's good to have a word that's like not too far out of the conversation that you would have.
Because you're not going to be like, I'm okay, pineapple.
Right. You want to use something that can be used in like everyday conversation.
Or like a phrase, like a specific way of saying something. A specific, maybe.
Yes. Like for me, it's like a nickname. I'm not going to say it obviously on here.
Okay.
But it's like a nickname for my mom. So I never call her that.
Yeah.
So it's like use something that like they like, and I joke because me and my mom came up with this code word probably like 10 to 10 years ago.
That's good. You were ahead of your times.
I definitely was. Classic. And I was like, Mom, this is the word. And then every so often I would test her and she forgets the word.
Oh, geez.
And then I'm like, Mom, you know what? I would say the word on the phone and my mom would be like, are you okay? What's happening? Do you need me to call the cops? And I'm like, you ruined it.
You ruined it. Like,
that's it. I'm dead.
They know.
They know now.
They know now. Thanks, Mom.
Thank you. I'm like, you need to be as calm as possible when delivering the safe word and hearing the safe word.
It must be just so hard on the other end, though. Like,
I can't imagine.
I mean, never been in this situation.
Yeah.
Obviously, thank God. But like to be on the other side and being like, what if you don't realize it?
I know.
Like, if it's just so out of context, you know, you're just not expecting it.
Yeah.
Like, cause I'm like thinking like, okay, what can I say? Like, maybe I would be like, can you check on my dog?
Right.
But like, if that was my phrase.
Right. She'll be like, you want me to check on your dog?
Yeah, I know.
But
right?
that's why you have to talk about it ahead of time. And you just have to remember it and remind each other like often, like, don't forget this is our code word, especially if like, let's say you're about to go on a solo travel trip. This is the code word. This is the phrase. Don't forget.
How did I travel without a code word?
Yeah. We didn't talk about this before you left.
I don't know.
No, I know. But I mean, it's very dark and like obviously scary and like you don't want to think about it, but it's just real stuff that you just want to like keep yourself, you know, aware of and like things can happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I know. I took a few Ubers when I was traveling and it was like,
yeah. The Ubers sometimes are the scary parts.
I know.
It's like, should I walk or should I Uber? Because
Yeah.
you've heard of terrible stories in Uber and Lyft too. So it's like, you never know.
I know. I was just very careful. Like I always made sure that they said my name first and, you know, doing all that. So yeah.
Just stay vigilant. Just stay like very like aware of your surroundings. I mean, I know it's like whatever, but like try not to get like too drunk because you don't want to be like that, you know, vulnerable person stumbling in the street.
I like only had a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Like I was not drinking a lot on my solo travels. Like I made sure it was very responsible. You know, I wanted to enjoy my time, but I was not there to party because Amsterdam is known for partying too. But like I was not there to party. I was there to have like a glass of rosé with my lunch.
Right.
And then, you know,
explore,
walk
and then,
home. Yeah. Enjoy the sights, which I did.
Good.
So like, as long as you're safe, you know, I think solo traveling can definitely be done. And I think it like looking at what areas are good for solo travel, you know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it everywhere, but I think Amsterdam, good for solo travel.
Yeah. There are definitely some places that you wouldn't want to solo travel alone, but
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I think like don't like shy away from it if it's something you're thinking about.
Yeah. Or like give it a little test. Do somewhere in the States. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
abroad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Come to New York.
Come to New York, say hi.
New York's a great place to solo travel.
It's so true.
It's because you also have an itinerary, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you can go do things.
Yeah, I think like bigger like cities where there's like a lot of people around, or if you're going to do like a eat, pray, love thing where
I would do that.
Yeah, I would too.
But I think you do need like something that happened in life to do an eat, pray, love.
Like a big
Life change.
life change. Well, in Eat, Pray, Love, she kind of did it because she was like married.
Uh-huh.
And you watch the movie?
No.
Oh.
I haven't read the book or watched the movie.
Okay, cool. I actually recently watched it in like the last year for the
really?
first time. But she goes on the trip because she's married and she feels stuck in her life.
Oh.
It kind of happens out of nowhere. Like he's like, you know, very excited to like move on to the next step. I think they were like talking about maybe kids. I can't remember really. But she was just like, this is not for me. Like she had like an epiphany almost.
Wow.
She was like, I need to go travel. I need to go to India. Like she just had this like,
I would not travel to India by myself.
yeah, probably not. But she went and she did Bali, she did Italy, and she obviously, you know, had this like life-changing experience.
Should
But
I watch it?
for her, nothing really happened. It just was like a spark. Yeah, you should watch it.
Okay.
It's good.
After my whole
Yeah, after your whole thing.
weekend in Amsterdam.
I think it'd be a nice
basically-
way to cap off the weekend.
Yeah. But I understand that if you feel stuck, kind of. Not that I felt stuck, but I just felt like
Routine.
repetitive. You know, it was like Mitch and I were in our routine and like, again, nothing was wrong.
Yeah.
We're like happy getting married, doing all of our planning. But I just was like, I need something for me,
Totally.
you know?
I think that a lot of people could relate to that, honestly.
Yeah. If anyone wants to talk about it, I'm happy to talk more about it and like my experience because I'm just so surprised at how many people think it was like courageous or brave, you know?
Yeah. You're like, is it?
I know. I couldn't believe that when you said that, you know, like
Yeah.
people were telling you like
Yeah.
Tori's brave for doing that. And I heard it too from people like, you know, that
You met.
divorced mom said she could never do it. And other people were messaging me like, wow, you're brave. Even my coworkers.
I think
Maybe give me an ego boost.
I
I'm
think
brave.
you're also like you travel in general, like you're a traveler.
Yeah.
So because of that, you already feel comfortable traveling. There are some
true.
people who don't really travel often at all.
Good point.
So maybe they're like, I don't even really travel. To go abroad alone is like unfathomable.
That's
Is that a
true.
word?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. That's a good point.
You know.
That's a good point.
So I think yeah. I mean, try traveling with someone first, and then even like break off for the 2-day weekend like you did.
Yeah. That's a good advice, Chanel.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It all came from you.
I want to see you do it.
I will one day, I think.
Yeah.
Not yet, but I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Because right now it just feels like a lot.
Yeah.
Like it would have to be like a work trip, you know?
Yeah.
To, like you did, to like extend.
Yeah.
Versus me just being like, I'm going to go on a solo trip to
I would do
somewhere
it
by
now.
myself right now.
I would do it now, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I could.
Yeah.
Do it.
You're like ready to go.
I know. I'm like, Mitch,
You're like, what's the
see
next
you
solo
later.
trip?
Yeah, I know. I'm ready to book it.
Love that. I'm so glad you had fun and welcome back.
Thanks. It's
We
good to
missed
be
you.
back. I know. I'm so glad I'm back.
What was your first meal when you came back? Bacon, egg, and cheese? No, you didn't even eat bacon.
From when I got home on Friday, we got pizza.
Pizza.
I
Nice.
just was like, I was hungry. I was tired.
Yeah.
I don't even remember eating it.
Yeah.
I was like a zombie.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes when I travel, I miss like home food sometimes.
Oh my God. I totally
You know?
missed it. I
Yeah.
was like so ready to just have yogurt and granola.
Yeah.
Or like,
You're like, I just want to cook for myself.
yeah, a cup of water that I could
Yeah.
actually pour myself.
Yeah.
You know,
Because you're
like,
just eating out every single meal.
yeah,
You're just like ready to like have some like, you're like, do I miss the routine?
I did.
Do I miss my yogurt every morning?
I know. Mitch made me avocado toast and I was like, this is so
good.
good. And it was just like Trader Joe's bread and
Yeah.
avocado and toast. And I was like, this is so good. And
I
he was
know.
like, okay. I'm like, I just felt good not having to order it.
Yeah.
You know, not have to sit down and be like, oh, what do I want for breakfast?
Yeah. And you could be having like some insane dishes and some great meals, but there's something about like when you come home, just like having a meal you cooked
Yeah.
that just hits different.
Yeah. And just like what you want.
Yeah.
You know, like I got to the point. I loved having to order my coffee because like the coffee was great, but I was just like, I just really want a salad.
Yeah. Just greens.
Yeah. So when I went to this restaurant that I really had that great experience, I just got a salad. I had gotten apple pie before that. I went and I got the apple pie cake thing.
Yeah.
And then I went to lunch.
You're like, I really do need a salad now.
Yeah. I was like, I don't think I just did it spur of the moment. And then I was like, oh, what am I going to eat? So I just got a salad. They're like, that's it. And I was like, that's it. Just a salad. Thank you.
And some water.
Yeah, water and wine. I was like, this is perfect. Yeah, but I'm happy to be home.
I'm happy you're back.
Thanks.
And I'm happy you had a good time. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for asking me about it.
I'm glad we talked. Okay.
Yay.
See you next week, guys. Oh, wait, you have to plug our stuff.
I know, you forgot. I was like, what are you doing?
Go ahead, girl.
Okay. Well, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Glad We Talked Podcast and email us at gladwetalkedpodcast@gmail.com.
And don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to us.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.